about how to navigate stress as a salesperson. Just to put it to you this way, over the last 15 years, I've experienced one, being fresh in sales, not knowing what the heck I was doing, wondering, do I even have the personality to be successful in sales? Then it was a matter of really loving sales and then finding myself wanting to dive into management and wondering, shoot, can I do management? Can I manage other people? And figuring out how to do that, and that's its own personal set of skills that you have to learn, is how to inspire and motivate people when they're doing really well, but also how to inspire and motivate people when they're not doing well. So kind of just being in their corner and helping them get out of those types of ruts. I've also experienced times in my life where I've uprooted my entire life for a career and wondered, is this even going to pan out in the way that I think it is? And so just those moments of doubt and worry and stress and anxiety. I've also been in the rut before as a district manager where I accumulated a ton of debt. I was part of this draw program that helped me from a financial perspective, but it was a loan, and then I accumulated so much debt where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in the whole 10 grand that I got to pay back, and that's not even including my student loans and other debts that I had had at the time. Going from B2C over to B2B when, for over 9 years I was only new B2C sales, and figuring out how to transition those skill sets over to B2B was its own personal transition. Life hitting you, right? Like, experiencing breakup seasons where I had to still stay positive and bring my A game to work, but I was going through a breakup and partners leaving my house and so forth, right? So that can be its own personal itty bitty amounts of stress as you're trying to perform in sales. I've lived through multiple seasons of personal and professional ruts, which in my opinion has given me a little bit of credibility to be able to provide some wisdom from my personal experience that can hopefully help you get out of whatever rut you're experiencing right now from a professional perspective. So I've got 4 things that I'm gonna go through rapid fire, and I hope this helps. Number 1, identify what's in your control and what's not in your control. Perhaps you're experiencing a bit of a rut as a salesperson because you just went through just a ton of personal stuff. Maybe you were sick. Like I remember back in the day, I got COVID and I got hit hard. In the sense of, like, I literally wanted to be at work, but I just couldn't. I needed to spend time recovering, and because of that, my performance declined quite a bit at work. So if that's the case, that's a pretty easy fix, and I imagine your manager probably understands why you didn't have the best month possible and is willing to empathize a little bit if they understand that through chatting with you during your next one-on-one. You want to address that elephant in the room, which is, hey, I understand that my performance last month was bad because I got sick, or maybe I had a family vacation and that impacted my month, or maybe I experienced a breakup and that's why I had a horrible month. But just talk to your manager. The next thing that has always helped me get back on track in a short amount of time is developing a self-care plan. Ooh, this one is, I think, so underrated, and it has always helped me get back on track because I've noticed that the moment that I take my eye off of my professional target, I lock in and I get tunnel vision, and I lose track of sleep, I lose track of eating, I lose track of hydration, I lose track of just everything because I'm so hyper fixated on this thing, and I borderline obsess over it. So that being said, if that is you, you got to recognize that, okay, yes, you are a top performer. Yes, you fully understand that you're not operating at your peak level. Yes, all of that is so true and so valid. However, sometimes you need to remove yourself from the situation and prioritize you. You are the best investment out there. The company is investing in you to be able to produce what you were brought on to do, right? And so instead of locking in and doing 15, 16-hour work days, for some people that might work. For me, it does not. I've tried that avenue actually, and it really doesn't work. It actually burns me out. And so what I always like to do is I reflect on, okay, cool, what areas have I let go? For the most part, if I let go working out and sleep, I'm not the best human being. So that tells me, okay, in this comeback month that I've got upon us right now, I want to make sure that I'm prioritizing sleep and I'm prioritizing working out. And for me, I only can work out in the mornings because if I try to work out in the afternoons, those afternoon workouts are more so a chore more than anything, and I despise them after work. And so I know that I need to make sure that I get up early enough to go to the gym and take care of myself, because I know that if I do that, I walk in to work with so much more energy, and it is noticeable that I'm taking care of myself. Next killer tip to help you get back on track and get out of whatever professional rut you might be experiencing right now is go back to the basics. And you might think, Bri, don't be condescending. I'm telling you right now, I've done this long enough to know that sometimes, you might think I'm so doing the job the way that I know I need to be doing it, but you're 1 degree off and it's taken you completely off course. And here's the thing, ultimately, I always tell people, regardless of how many years you've been doing this, always, always, always remember the importance of going back to the basics. And I remember this from back playing basketball back in high school. When you're doing too much, and you're doing too many tricks in between the legs, behind the back stuff, and you lose track of like the important fundamentals of just getting it done simply by just doing it the basic way of doing it, that sometimes really does help out, especially from a professional standpoint too, because you might just be doing too much. Maybe you've been doing cold calling for such a long time that you forgot how to navigate objections simply how you were originally taught how to just master those basic level rebuttals. Maybe you're just doing too much and trying to like speak too much to the prospect, and it's selling them off of a meeting or off of a discovery. So go back to the basics. I am such a big advocate for creating for yourself a comeback plan when you know that you're not hitting the mark and you're missing your target. You were hired on to do a set responsibility, which is in sales to hit your target.
You're up 2-0. What's the story? Are you not happy, or you're only half happy, or?
Still to be happy about.
You're up 2-0.
Job's not finished. Job finished? I don't think so.
Okay.
Which means that when they onboarded you, they trained you and they said, hey, this is what you are hired on to do. This is your responsibility. This is your scope of work. Get it done, right? And some people think, well, it's my manager's job to hold my hand and micromanage me and help me get to my target. They're here for accountability. They're here for support. They're here to give you wisdom and knowledge from what they've experienced in the past and bring it over to you when you come forth and you say, hey, this is what I'm struggling with. These are very targeted questions that I need help and assistance with that they might bring to a one-on-one, right? But they're not here to do your job for you. That's why you are here, right? Imagine if freaking Kobe Bryant back in the day was mad at Phil Jackson when they would lose a game. Phil, it's your team. It's your fault as to why we lost. What? Like, no, Kobe, you're Kobe. Like, you're the one that's out there shooting the shots, freaking passing the ball when needed. Like, you're the reason why we're going to win, but you're also the reason why we lost, most likely, right? Like, you got to take ownership over this is your job.
How was it taking coaching from an alpha and you're an alpha? And was there a progression of you finally understanding him or him understanding you? What did that look like, the relation between you and Phil?
No, at first it was rocky, but I didn't understand it was rocky. And let me elaborate. I was extremely naive. And with Phil and his genius, his responsibility was to get the team to a place to win titles. It wasn't to appease one player. It wasn't to look out for this player. It was to get the collective whole to win a championship. So he would do whatever it took to make sure that happened. He would see the friction between myself and Shaquille and say, okay, how can I use that? All right, I know Kobe has a passion to play, so come hell or high water, doesn't matter what's going on in his personal life, doesn't matter what's happening here with the team, he's gonna show up and perform no matter what. Shaq is more emotional. If something's going on, he won't. So therefore, I gotta figure out how to create a wedge between myself and Kobe, because then that brings me closer to Shaquille. And then that helps me better manage Shaq. So that was his ability to manage the team, which was absolutely brilliant. I used to tell him all the time, I said, Phil, look, I know what you're doing, bro. Like, don't insult my intelligence. I know you're being a dick to me on purpose. Like, just, like, tell me. No? Okay, you're gonna stay with it? All right, cool. All right.
If someone is in a role and they're not hitting their targets, it's always easy to blame the manager. And sometimes that is the case, right? But I've also experienced times where my manager wasn't the most supportive. My manager was absent constantly. And so I needed to figure it out on my own. Because again, I was hired on to do something. It is my role, my responsibility to get it done, not my manager, right? There's so many resources out there to help get you back on track if you don't have the best manager. So don't rely on just your manager to help you get there, but take ownership and say, all right, this is my responsibility. I'm going to make it happen. My last power tip. Oh my gosh. This one has always been such an important, vital part for me to get out of any rut that I was experiencing. It's don't do it alone. If you are in this mindset of, I'm going to make this happen, I'm going to come back stronger for next quarter or next month. Alone, you can go faster, but together you can go farther. I truly believe that an individual can be beat because they're alone and they lack accountability, or they lack even just, a sense of community. But if you go with a team, that team can't be beat, especially if that person is locking arms with like their team lead or the top performer in the office, and the top performer sees that this underperformer really wants to get back on track. Like, that is truly the essence of why a team needs to be, together, and to be honest and vulnerable about where's the direction of the team. And I love that my current team right now does this so beautifully. They're able to go to each other and say, hey, I'm actually really struggling, or hey, I'm really anxious, or hey, I'm having a hard time with cold calls or emails or LinkedIn strategy. And they're so quick to just lock arms with the people in the office that are great in whatever skill set they want to improve on. Use that. Study the top performers, right? Figure out what's working for them and master that. And so it honestly probably takes 15 to 20 minutes a day to get better at cold calls or emails or prospecting or discovery training. 15 minutes a day. That's all it really takes. And I can promise you, you're going to get 1% better every single day. So by the end of the month, it's going to be a skill set that you're probably going to, really truly master. Don't do it alone though. Because again, if you're trying to do this on your own and get back on track, some people, this is your wheelhouse. Like, you don't need anyone, and that's you. Me, on the other hand, I needed to confide in my manager and say, hey, this is where my headspace is at, and this is where I need help. I needed to confide in my best friends that are also in sales and say, hey, dude, I'm really struggling. Like, build me up a little bit, give me some confidence, just because I'm lacking that right now. I go to my mentor that I've had in my life now for over 15 years, and I say, hey, I know you're not even at my company. I don't work with you anymore, but this is kind of where I'm at, where I'm struggling. Help me, give me some wisdom. I have like a cavalry that I have to build sometimes for myself when I'm in a let's get back on track mindset. And so if that's you, don't do it alone. Find other people, lock arms, figure out what you need essentially to get out of this rut that you might be experiencing. If this was helpful, I hope it was. Feel free to follow for more business development tips, and I will catch you next time.